What's going on, y'all? What's going on? What's going on? So, let's kind of put things in order first. There was a brother that super chatted at the very, very end of Z's last stream, and I've been waiting for my live comments to populate so I could have used that and kind of read the brother's comment and gave my commentary. But so I glanced and saw it last minute, and I had already pressed the end button. So whoever that brother was, if you don't mind putting your comment, just kind of wave and let us know that it was you, so I can read your comment. You obviously you don't have to super chat again, so I can read your comment and give my commentary on it. I didn't even get a chance to see what it was. I know it was yellow, so it was probably a $10 super chat. But yeah, so my apologies for that. I pressed end to, like, and I glanced and I saw it, but it was already too late, so I didn't even get a chance to read it. So whoever that was, let us know, and we will obviously read it and give you our commentary. So once again, my apologies to who that was, and yes, and yeah. All right, y'all. So this is part two. Mr. Z done calmed down a whole lot. Um, and we're not gonna troll MTR. That's if he even knows that I've responded. Yes, MTR got 800 and something thousand subscribers. So literally, MTR has about 800,000 more subscribers than Z does. Um, he's a big fish, right? Big dog. So and we're this is the last time I'm gonna be addressing this. Um, y'all could hear in Z's tone last night what I thought about this. And I meant what I said. For those of you who missed it, last night we spoke about MTR covering Leona, which is the young lady, black woman out of San Diego, who we covered on this channel some months ago, and she was speaking about why she doesn't date black men. Once again, links are in the description box. Links are in the description box. And so we're responding to MTR agreeing with Leona on certain parts, right? And us particularly the conversation about victimhood and black men playing victim, right? Um, I am weary and I'm cautious with black people who dismiss other black folks when it comes to being on the wrong side of the power dynamic. This is something that I stressed last night. And there's a reason for that, because this is a very slippery slope, right? Are there people who play victim? Yes. Are there black women who play victim of black men, of society? Yes. Um, do people use that to obscure their own laziness, their own incompetence, their own ineptitude? Yes, that's a thing. Yes. As black people, has that been the reason why black people find themselves in this position? No, right? And what we have are a number of black folks who, now that we're about three-ish generations out of Jim Crow, who are, in Mr. Z's estimation, being very dangerous with their rhetoric and their language about this quote unquote supposed victimhood Olympics or oppression Olympics that black people are playing into. That is how these people frame it. Leona was playing and entertaining that type of language, and MTR, Mediocre Tutorial Reviews, also engaged in that, and he agreed with Leona. This is one of the few things he actually did agree with her on. And he did the regardless of race talk. We, once again, are skeptical of this because, as Mr. Z said, the slippery slope. And I'm going to get to something in a minute. Y'all give Z a second. Because we actually did, and once again, fair use, we actually did clip out the part of the conversation where I want to focus on. Once again, there's a reason for that. I think this is very dangerous work. Y'all already know. We're gonna pause throughout, and when we pause, we're gonna have to play it from the beginning all over. Don't worry about it. The segment we're covering is only about 2.5-ish, maybe 3 minutes long. So it's not like you're gonna have to be tortured with a 10-minute segment being played over and over again. But yeah. So Saint Cyr, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the super chat. And Saint Cyr says ZPT time / reckless tax. Yeah, we're reckless streams. Don't put it in the comments. Don't put it in the comments. But yeah, this is a reckless streams. And for that super chat, you get one of these. If Mr. Z can find it, you get one of these. Right. So I wanted to stress this. The social media and internet leaves very little room for nuance. Right? There's very little room for nuance. There's very little room for, us having a conversation about the kind of gray area. Oh, Z, you went there, I went there. I know. We speak about the women playing in the gray, right? And undefined words and postmodernism and definitely post-structuralism, right? But on the internet, for real, there is no place for nuance. And you would think as adults we can have a conversation about people who do use this victim word to be lazy, while also acknowledging that Black people's history in America and Black people across the diaspora history with America hasn't necessarily been that great. And what does that mean for Black men in particular that find themselves to be on the wrong side of white hegemonic rule in America? America. You would think that adults can have this conversation, and adults can speak about, Black adults can speak about, Black men and Black women can speak about the history of America concerning white rule and what that means for Black men, what that means for Black male entrepreneurs, what that means for the Black male workforce, what that means for Black men in the military, what that means for Black men in white collar spaces, what that means for Black men in blue collar spaces, what that means for Black men in their intimacy, both with Black women and with non-Black women, what that means for Black men who are LGBTQ, what that means for Black men. You would think that Black people can have a more honest, nuanced conversation, but clearly there are a number of Black folks, in this case, namely the brothers and sisters who are doing okay financially or better than okay financially, who have a really difficult time speaking about Black people as if Black people are or could have been the victims of white folks. Huh? So here's the clip we're going to be covering. Yeah, so it's about 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes long, right? And so we're going to be covering that, and we'll come back on the other side. All right, y'all.
Here we go.
If you've seen my last video, then you know how I talked about Black people, melanated people victimizing themselves to white people is not a flex. It's not something that is
actually
respectable.
hate that.
It's not something that's dignified. It's not really something that's going to help you propel and move forward in your life.
Sure.
I've never dated a Black man that didn't talk about his
experience as a Black man.
Oh.
Talk about how
the man is always trying to keep him down.
And it's so sickening. It's disgusting.
I agree with her.
And it's...
So we're going to pause right there for a second. Mr. Z doesn't know why he didn't do this earlier, but let's do this, right? Fair use. Once again, fair use, right? Okay. If you look at how Leona was mocking Black men, and if you looked at the way MTR looked, like he was disgusted. Wow. Okay, so who needs anti-Black, non-Black people when you have the likes of a Leona and the likes of an MTR? As if America is not America. Huh? As if America is not America. Passport OG says, that Fox News money looking good. Hey, man, look, I caught a clip of Anton and his crew speaking about Michelle Obama And you had one of the lighter skinned sisters up there speaking about the libtards. I already spoke about this last night with the reactionary black folks. Hey, all right, I hear y'all. I hear y'all. I'm going to make note of this. And if you think, I'm telling y'all right now, because this is Mr. Z. If you think Mr. Z is not gonna give you the "I told you so" when this snaps in the other direction, oh, you got another thing coming, because Mr. Z gonna be handing out "I told you so's" left and right. Because I know my black people, and y'all gonna take this too far, huh? So you better believe when the white folks, and when the Trumpers Trump, and they let you know what they think about you again for the 1 zillionth time. And when they let you know they don't only think this way about Vivek Ramaswamy and the South Asians, the Indians in particular, oh, you better believe Mr. Z's gonna be like, yeah, I told y'all this though. So let's leave that there. All right. Um, Continuing. If you looked at MTR's face, the look of disgust, as I said, this is frightening. You get this from, we haven't seen her face, but you get this from Lexus Exodus. You get this from Chrissy. You get this from Divested Zealot. You're getting this from MTR. You get this from Anton Daniels. Huh? You get this from Leona. You get this from Paris Milan. What is it with you Negroes that are making a couple of dollars? All of a sudden, racism, white supremacy. No, we are worst enemy. No, we're playing victim. The problem with these are weak black men. What? So let me get this right. Negroes, the second they pass, they big toe over six figures, and clearly that's not all black folks. I know we got a number of brothers clear on my channel who make pretty good money, and they don't think like this, right? I've been on other brothers' channel who are making pretty good money off of YouTube. We're not talking about their YouTube money, and they don't think like this. So I'm not saying all, but clearly there's some correlation between earning what, over 80, over 100, maybe over $120,000 a year, and then Negroes saying, you know what? Actually, racism or anti-blackness, that's not really an issue. I don't know what the hell these people are playing victim, huh? We just overcome. We just rise above. Yeah. That's not how anti-blackness, white supremacy works. There's no just rise above. That's not how it works. That would wait. Do y'all know what the word supremacy means? You just don't overcome. That's not how it works by definition. Like being a victim, you just don't rise above that. That's by definition, that's not how it works. That's not. Wait, what? Huh? Right? So we're gonna continue to play this, and then we'll get back to our commentary on the other end of this. But here we go.
Here we go.
If you've seen my last video, then you know how I talked about black people, melanated people victimizing themselves to white people is not a flex. It's not something that is
actually hate
respectable.
that.
It's not something that's dignified. It's not really something that's going to help you propel and move forward in your life.
Sure.
I've never dated a black man that didn't talk about his
experience as a black man.
Oh.
Talk about how
The man is always trying to keep him down.
And it's so sickening. It's disgusting.
I agree with her.
And it's my experience dating every single black man that I've dated. They've always talked about how their experience as a black man in America is one that is filled with hatred and racism, I guess.
Those are weak men.
Although secretly, I believe every single black man would find themselves at a higher status if they actually had dated or possessed, was in a relationship with a woman of non-color. But that's really neither here nor there.
What?
I really, really hope.
So let's work backwards. First, MTR, you said what? You didn't understand what she was saying is that black men don't try for black women. I don't know if MTR really didn't understand what she was saying. I peg MTR as being a pretty intelligent man, so maybe he was just kind of acting coy and acting like he didn't get it to kind of further the conversation. But what Miss Leona was getting at was that black men will try for non-black women. Black men will attempt for non-black women. Black men will do for non-black women. It is black men don't think black women are deserving of working themselves to death. That's what she was getting to. That black men give very minimal effort, if any effort at all, because they don't think black women are deserving of the effort. That's what she was getting at. She's actually low-key calling black men anti-black women. High-key, she's saying that. So, just in case MTR actually didn't appreciate what she was saying, which I seriously doubt, but, just to be really, really overt and on the nose about it. Secondly, if y'all see the way she mocks black men when she says, I guess racism, I guess, this is where, and excuse me, notice what MTR said to that. Those are weak men. If you want to know why Mr. Z sounded the way he did last night, and y'all may not have gotten that same vibe from Mr. Z when we covered this the first time, it's hearing a black man agree with it that made what Leona said egregious even more, and then made MTR agreeing with her even more egregious. Right? Exactly. Grab second gear, Eddie. Did he just say weak men? Exactly. You heard what Mr. Z heard. So a black woman can mock the plight of black men in America. As I said last night, every other day practically, there is some entity out there being sued for anti-black practices. Blue collar, white collar, HR managers, banks, loan offices. Oh, and by the way, they're not just being sued by the U.S. government. They're being found guilty and liable. Huh? CEOs get caught saying all type of racist, anti-black stuff. Huh? Banks, all of these people preying on giving black people insane interest rates compared to non-blacks, particularly white folks. Every other day, this is being proven to be true. And so for Leona to say racism, I guess, in a mocking tone, and then for MTR to say, yeah, those are weak men. Oh my God. Huh? Huh? As I said before, what is it about the black folks that become somewhat successful that makes them look at other black folks like
they are ants, Michael? They are ants.
huh? Like they are ants. Really, what Mr. Z thought he knew of an MTR, I thought MTR would have hit Leona with this type of energy.
Bye, Felicia.
Right? With the bye Felicia energy. But clearly, right? MTR said, no, those are weak men. Ishmael says, he wasn't being sarcastic, Z? Nope. You're going to see. I'm going to keep on playing it. By the way, we only got to the minute mark with that. We have another minute and a half to go, give or take. We have about a minute and a half to go. No, MTR was being dead ass serious. He wasn't being sarcastic. Those are weak men. So Leona plays down racism towards black men and says, racism, I guess? And MTR says, yeah, those are weak men. Hey, like I said last night, y'all been watching way too much Jordan Peterson. Way too much Fox News and Newsmax and News One. Huh? Uh-oh. Brookings Institute told you about 70 80% of upper middle class-ish black boys come down to working class. That's what Brookings Institute told you. And yet we're telling black men they're victimizing themselves. Oh boy. We're telling them they are weak men. There's been research done about the zip code map, where when you're born into certain zip codes, they can predict your outcome, your likely outcome in life, because of the structure that this country has constructed. Huh? And you can imagine what that means for the masses of black people, namely black men. And Leona is in a mocking tone saying, racism, I guess. And MTR is agreeing with her and saying, yeah, those are weak men. If you want to know why Mr. Z got his dander up last night and why I'm still kind of on it again today, once again, those are weak men. Weak men. Huh? Weak men. I could go through the litany of names. You had the mental health care doctor down here in South Florida who got shot while trying to help one of his mentally disturbed patients who ran out the hospital. He ran after him. The cops pulled their guns out. The man laid on his back with his hands in the air, and they still shot him. Thank God he survived. And when he asked the cop, why did you shoot me? The cop said, I don't know. Was that man not a victim, MTR? First of all, this man is doing yeoman's work. He is working at a mental health care facility. He is helping. And mind you, that the patient was non-black. The patient was non-black. This man is doing God's work. He did everything the right way. He went over and beyond. This man laid on his back and put his hands in the air while still calling to the patient, hey, the cops are, stop doing this, stop doing that. The cops still, this was clearly not any type of danger. This man posed no danger to no one, and he still got shot. Huh? And he still got shot. There are a number of these stories. Successful or not successful, blue collar, white collar, huh? Educated, not educated, young, old. So for Leona to say racism, I guess, and for MTR to say weak men. The police officer, the brother from the army that the white cop harassed at the gas station some years back. Huh? You have a number of these stories. Lee Atwater, the Southern Strategy. Fred Hampton. Huh? So, once again, for Leona to say racism, I guess, and for MTR to say those are weak men. Weak men. Who needs Ben Shapiro? Huh? Who needs Charlie Kirk? What's the one with the eye patch? Who needs him? Who needs Louder with Crowder, who's corny as hell? Who needs them when you got Leona and MTR? Who needs them? Huh? Mocking black men and the plight of black men. Calling black men weak.
You sure about that? You sure about that? You sure about that?
Let the white man tell it. Huh? And Passport OG says that NASIC Negroes ain't ish industrial complex is real, boy. Hey, say it. Shout out to Trill. There's a reason why we came up with that. Botham Jean is another one. Thank you, Kanguru. Y'all know how Mr. Z said you minding your own goddamn business in your apartment. Cop breaks through the door and shoots you. Argues with you and shoots you. Rumor has it that it was doing something. We never got confirmation or denial of that. Well, we got denial of that, but either way, she breaks through your door, or you unlock your door and she shoots you cold dead. And she has to serve what, only 5 years? And did she get out for good behavior? Did she get out in what, 3 years or something like that for good behavior? As I said last night, MTR, Leona and other black women like that sound like her, their real issue is that black men are not willing to go outside and get themselves slaughtered so that we can elevate black women like Leona and make them politically and socially upper middle class and above white women. That's their issue with black men. That black men won't bow, protect, provide, and shut up. That's why Leona is saying the things that she's saying. That she's got herself to this point. She's educated. She's making pretty good money. She's successful. And black men don't care because she got a crap attitude. Her own words. She is loud. Her own words. You can't tell her nothing. Her own words. So much so that now she has been reduced to dating European white men. Not white American men. European white men. Her words. And you let a thrown off chick like that say racism, I guess, in a mocking tone to black men, and you say, oh yeah, those are weak men. Uh-oh. Huh? I read your comment, Kunguru. I'm not going to highlight it just in case, but yeah, I read your comment. That's what I'm saying. That's what I think. I think a number of us thought that. Like, you know, dude was the little side piece, because apparently she was engaged or something like that, right? Or she was in a relationship. Dude was the little side piece, you know. He got that Caribbean vibe, probably hit her with the accent, probably hit her with something else, right? Giggity. And she was smitten, and they would do things from time to time, and he probably cut her ass off. And so she decided, because apparently when she was knocking on the door, she was fussing. She didn't go to the wrong room. Once again, allegedly, rumor has it, allegedly. She didn't go to the wrong room. She went to the right room. She was at the right door. And she went there to go do what she did. Huh? And even with that, if that story is true, he is still a victim. Huh? You have a number of these stories. As I said, we know what our Yitch Leona is saying, what she's saying. MTR, why are you saying what you're saying? And this goes along the lines of what Patrick Bet David told Roland Martin. When Roland Martin finally backed him into the corner in that conversation they had, and Roland Martin kept on mentioning, you know, the when black folks sell their homes, the lower rate that they're getting, the lower price that they're getting just for it being a home that was previously owned by a black person. And when Patrick Bet David kept on fighting him on the argument, and when Roland Martin was finally able to prove it, Patrick Bet David essentially said, paraphrasing, why would you want to teach that to black people? What good does that do for black people? Wait a minute, what good does it do for black people to let them know that they're victims? That they're being offered $50,000 and $100,000+ less for their house in this neighborhood compared to their white neighbors? Dear black people in Texas, dear black people in Florida, this is why they want to rewrite the history books. They want your kids to be a victim, but not see themselves as a victim, as white people put a foot in their ass. They want black women, black girls, to be victims, but not see themselves as being victims of white folks, but a victim of black men, black boys. Uh-oh. Yeah, we gonna get at the sisters for what they choose to believe in, but be very clear, white folks is helping them along the way. MTR. Huh? And I am Waffle says, and thank you for the super chat. God damn, you got me reading this out loud. But I ain't trying to go in on the ladies' looks like that, but okay, right? And I'm Waffles, thank you for the super chat once again. Thank you for the super chat. Excuse me. And I'm Waffles says, she mad she looked like Arsenio Hall twin brother. Jesus Christ. I didn't see y'all put that comment down in a bunch of different places. Jeez. Huh? And thank you once again. I'm Waffles a super chat. Thank you for the super chat. And you get one of these. Y'all give me 1 second. Here you go.
Yep, I'm flying through the air. This is not good.
Right? And once again, thank you for that. Thank you for that. Huh. So, as I said, this is a slippery slope. Dear Black America, has America changed a bit since slavery? Debatable, but fine. Let's go with it. Let's say yes. Has America changed a bit since Jim Crow? Debatable, but fine. Let's go with it. Let's say yes. But America is still America. America is still America. And all you have to do is scratch just a smidge under that thin layer of civility, that thin layer of acceptance, that thin layer, it's super thin. And you see the real. And so that's what frightens Z, is the women like Leona in the Black community, and definitely the Black men like MTR. Because as we said already, we know why Leona's saying what she's saying. She's just angry that the education and the status and the income hasn't now graduated her to eeny, meeny, miny, mo, pick whatever super good looking, well-off man, namely black man, that she chooses. And she could keep her crap attitude, right? Her trash attitude. Remember, we don't say that these people are trash. We said that the behavior is trash. Because with Leona and a number of women, namely in this case, black women, what they're really angry about is that they should be able to parlay their education, their status, and their income into eeny, meeny, miny, mo, choosing whatever man they want while keeping all of the horrible character traits they have. Because the men get to do it. The white men get to do it. White women aren't told to settle. Yawn. Huh? And once again, thank you for the super chat. I'm Waffles. Thank you for the super chat. Right? And let's continue. And so we're gonna play the rest of this. Hopefully, Mr. Z can get past the minute and a half mark, but probably not. Let's see. Right? Let's see.
Here we go.
If you've seen my last video, then you know how I talked about black people, melanated people victimizing themselves to white people is not a flex. It's not something that is
actually hate
respectable.
that.
It's not something that's dignified. It's not really something that's going to help you propel and move forward in your life.
Sure.
I've never dated a black man that didn't talk about his
experience as a black man.
Oh.
They talk about how
The man is always trying to keep him down.
And it's so sickening. It's disgusting.
I agree with her.
And it's my experience dating every single black man that I've dated. They've always talked about how their experience as a black man in America is one that is filled with hatred and racism, I guess.
Those are weak men.
Although secretly, I believe every single black man would find themselves at a higher status if they actually had dated or possessed, was in a relationship with a woman of non-color. but that's really neither here nor there.
What?
I really, really hope that Black men find their preferences away from Black women so that they can continue to level up and do them and go about their merry way and be great.
I didn't think I was going to agree with her at all during this video, just based off of the title, because I'm not with this whole divest community shit. I believe in survival of the fittest. You find within whatever race, man or woman, whatever works best for you. Nevertheless, Black men that continue to look at the world and prioritize their race first for whatever conversation in a method to victimize themselves are some of the weakest Black men amongst all Black men. The majority of them, not all, have been trained to be a victim. They've been trained to be weak and pathetic and really don't represent masculinity when they do that. They'll often blame everything that's wrong in their life on the white man keeping them down. When I say that there's nothing keeping you down but yourself. You can't be mad at
I'm going to play the rest, by the way. I'm not going to cut MTR off and try to reframe this. Nope, I'm going to play the rest. But let's pause right there. So do y'all think that MTR was being sarcastic now? Is Mr. Z misreading him now? Huh? Is Mr. Z misreading MTR right now? Survival of the fittest. That's, once again, Darwinism. How does Darwinism work for Black people in America or on the globe's current state? Y'all want to play Darwinism right now with how white people are running the world? Huh? You want to play Darwinism with how white people are running the world right now? Are you sure about that? Huh?
You sure about that? You sure about that? You sure about that?
Let the white man tell it. Right? Survival of the fittest sounds good, MTR, until a bigger, stronger dude puts a foot in your ass and take what you have. Take what you work hard for, and then looks at you while he's urinating in your face and says, survival of the fittest, player. Huh? You're just weak. Yeah, that sounds nice. I believe in survival of the fittest. Once again, this is some weirdo white man trope because of the world that they have currently constructed and the way they have the world right now. They really want to rewind back to the 1950s where they were undisputedly the world's hegemon. They still are, but they want it unquestionable, like it was in the 1950s. Where white Americans could do whatever they want on the planet and not be challenged. And MTR, who's an educated man, sees that and hopefully knows that and still says, yeah, I believe in survival of the fittest. Yeah, that sounds nice. Look, Mr. Z is a man too. Mr. Z is a heterosexual man also, MTR. I'm telling you, that sound nice, and that might, diddle your little man ego, but it sounds nice. Until you see what that actually looks like. Might makes right, survival of the fittest, that sounds nice. Until you see what that actually looks like. You know what that looks like? You develop a concept or a business plan or an idea, and Elon Musk comes through, throws money in your face, say, and I'll take that. If he just doesn't outright steal it. Huh? You know what survival of the fittest looks like? You start a business, an online business is doing pretty well, and Jeff Bezos tries to buy you out, and you're like, no, I'm good. And he just develops the product for a cheaper rate, cheaper price, because he can. And then as you go bankrupt because people are going to buy his product, he looks at you and say, oh, by the way, survival of the fittest, player. Maybe you should have been stronger, you weak man. That's what it looked like, survival of the fittest. Survival of the fittest looks like you out there with your lady minding your own damn business. Somebody sucker punches you and grabs her and runs off with her. That's what survival of the fittest looks like. Sounds nice. Y'all gives you a second. Y'all talk amongst yourselves. And we're back. My apologies, y'all. We're back. That survival of the fittest sounds nice, right? It sounds like some 300. I hear y'all. It sounds like 300. It sounds like Leonidas, huh? It sounds like Gladiator. I hear you. No, I'm not weak. I'm a real man. All right. That sounds nice. But when America treats you like this,
You gonna pay what you owe, Santa?
huh? And when white folks treat you like this,
You gonna pay what you owe, Santa?
how does that survival of the fittest actually look? Huh? And I'm Muffle says, Mr. Z, John D. Rockefeller, billionaire, competition is a sin. We already know that's how they play the game. You get up to the top and then you lock the door behind you. You buy up politicians to create laws and rules to make it more difficult for your competition to ever be competition. You buy out competition. If you don't believe me, go ask Mark Zuckerberg. Oops. Go ask Bill Gates what he was on before the federal government came after him in the 90s. Huh? If you don't believe me, go ask what Bell before they had to break up. If you don't believe me, go ask AT&T. Huh? Right? All of this sounds nice. Look, I get it. The conservative brethren right now, I get it. Y'all on a high right now because Trump won. Y'all know how to act. Y'all gonna start lecturing like a mug. Y'all gonna start calling everybody weak, everybody pathetic. And remember, MTR did say pathetic. Huh? Everybody who don't think like you, especially for us brothers on the left, we on top of yitches. We over there, we over here with the black yitches. We soft, we pathetic. Yeah, that sound nice. Huh? Why y'all the bottom B for racist rich white men? That sound nice. If you think I'm drawing the line in the sand, that's because I am. Huh? And if you think Mr. Z, because I know you're gonna save face when them white boys remind you what they think about you, I want to be very clear. Anton and them are gonna try to save face. I don't care about no white man being racist. I care about the laws. And I'm telling you right now, when America, cuz they're gonna try to save face, I'ma still do my 5 chuckles. While y'all trying to explain yourselves. I want to be very clear. I do not expect Myron and them to backtrack on anything. Y'all saw, and I'm so glad it got caught. Y'all saw what happened. The white guy on Myron, and Myron wasn't disappointed in the racism for the white guy. He was disappointed that the white guy did it in public. Huh? Once again, racist white dude, Myron over there piling around with, G checks the hell out of Myron, and Myron is more disappointed it was done in public and that the guy was disturbing the vibe than the racist white guy being a racist white guy. How you want to talk about pathetic, MTR? You want to talk about victimizing yourself? Huh? I'm saying this to all the brothers in the Black manosphere, progressive, liberal, conservative, libertarian, etc. You have to be careful how you move it out here. In moments of rage and anger, in moments of trying to defend Black men's image, when Black women are attacking it, when white folks are attacking it, when non-Black people are attacking it, You have to be careful how you moving. I understand and I appreciate how tempting it is to say some of the most outlandish things. Mr. Z has a YouTube channel also. I'm not Myron. I'm not MTR. I don't have hundreds of thousands, if not millions of subscribers and followers. With that, we're similar ages. You gotta be careful how you moving out here. And you can't let some weirdo thrown off jealous angry chick, Leona, who it acknowledges to you, insists to you she has a problem and she has daddy issues. You can't let her lead you into saying anti-black misandrous things. Huh? So we'll pause right here and let's read this real quick, and y'all give Z a second. And Cyrus Burke says, and thank you for the super chat. Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. Cyrus Burke says, MTR is not only a dork. Oh man, y'all give Z a second. Wait a minute. Okay, that's annoying. All right, we're back. We're back. And Cyrus Burke says MTR is not only a dork, he's a coward, in my opinion. Him, the Respectability Brigade, and Bootstrappers want to be the new face of masculinity while trying to advance black people without making white people uncomfortable. 304 Ash Negroes. Look, and that's not a thing, man. That trying to move in silence under look, this internet. Even before the internet, you were hyper exposed. Even before the internet, you were hyper exposed. If you don't believe me, go dig up J. Edgar Hoover's body and go ask him. With social media and the internet, you hyper exposed now. You're going to have to make white people uncomfortable. Dear black people, white folks have exposed and showed their hand in a way that I don't think we fully appreciate. You recall when black folks used to say, yeah, the white folks moved out the hood and they moved away from black people because of the violence and da-da-da. And yeah, to a certain extent, yes, too many black people moved in and they have a quota when too many black people move in, when more than 10%, 15%, white folks start moving out. Okay, cool. All right, somewhat true. And yeah, it's the violence and it's the culture and the baby mamaism and the profanity and the way we dress and the way we act. And then you notice that white folks started doing it with the Asians too. Now what? Because of the competition, because too many Asian kids were becoming valedictorians at those public schools and private schools. Uh-oh. And Mr. Z is bringing that up to say, dear black folks, ain't no moving in the shadows and not making white folks uncomfortable. There's no, I'll show you, I'll offer more than you. I'll show you through respectability. Did y'all forget why we call Uncle Tom Uncle Tom? Why that became a pejorative? The respectable Negro? What did everybody forget why people flipped on the term or the phrase or the name Uncle Tom? Why it became a negative? Because it don't work. Did y'all forget? MTR, did you forget? Everybody act like they forgot why Uncle Tom became a pejorative. He wasn't the bad character he wasn't the Sambo. He wasn't the bad character. Yeah, but he was respectable and it still don't work. Uh-oh. You can't out Jordan Peterson, MTR. Huh? I get it. I am a black man. I am part of the black manosphere. And the way the women are acting and speaking, namely black women are acting and speaking, is despicable. We appreciate that. We understand that. Clearly on Z's channel, we speak about that ad nauseum. With that, as a response to or retort to the Leonas of the world, we don't throw black men under the bus and call them weak and call them pathetic. Because weird ass Leona who's making good money can get the type of black man she finds attractive to bow down, protect, provide, and shut up. Huh? And once again, Cyrus Burke, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the super chat. And you get one of these. Give me a second. And once again, thank you for the super chat, Cyrus. Thank you for the super chat. And so let's continue with this, and I'm gonna highlight KMS's super chat. So let's play this one more again. Hopefully we can make it to the end, and let's play this.
Here we go.
If you've seen my last video, then you know how I talked about black people, melanated people victimizing themselves to white people is not a flex. It's not something that is
actually hate
respectable.
that.
It's not something that's dignified. It's not really something that's going to help you propel and move forward in your life.
Sure.
I've never dated a black man that didn't talk about his
experience as a black man.
Oh.
They talk about how
the man is always trying to keep him down.
And it's so sickening. It's disgusting.
I agree with her.
And it's my experience dating every single black man that I've dated. They've always talked about how their experience as a black man in America is one that is filled with hatred and racism, I guess.
Those are weak men.
Although secretly, I believe every single black man would find themselves at a higher status if they actually had dated or possessed, was in a relationship with a woman of non-color. But that's really neither here nor there.
What?
I really, really hope that black men find their preferences away from black women so that they can continue to level up and do them and go about their merry way and be great. I
didn't think I was going to agree with her at all during this video, just based off of the title, because I'm not with this whole divest community shit. I believe in survival of the fittest.
You heard that. He agrees.
Within whatever race, man or woman, whatever works best for you. Nevertheless, black men that continue to look at the world and prioritize their race first for whatever conversation in a method to victimize themselves are some of the weakest black men amongst all black men. The majority of them, not all, have been trained to be a victim. They've been trained to be weak and pathetic and really don't represent masculinity when they do that. They'll often blame everything that's wrong in their life on the white man keeping them down. When I say that there's nothing keeping you down but yourself. You can't be mad at those and look at others with a envy or jealousy and victimize yourself because you weren't born into their same race or ethnicity, color of skin, and instead take life by the horns and develop your own. Now, I say all that to say, how she keeps on coming into contact with dudes like that is beyond me. I don't know any black dudes like that. None of my friends are like that. So this first issue is based off of your selection, ma'am. Let's go.
Wow. So at the end, he says that's based off of his selection. So that's the one thing I can agree with MTR on. But I definitely want to cover this segment once again. I want to actually let y'all see it, the part that I was speaking about. Look, brother MTR, I get it. I clearly appreciate attempting to defend black men's image. But if Leona, and this is why I say I actually do engage in the logical fallacies. This is when you attempt to shame a Leona. Emphasis on the word attempt because it's not going to work, but Mr. Z will engage anyway. With, wait a minute, so you dating black men, clearly that you're doing better financially, which lets me know you can't really get or definitely can't keep the black men doing as well as you financially or above in San Diego. That's what you just let us know, by the way. Okay, number one. Number two, those black men are describing to you their plight in America. In America, and if you're doing better than them financially and you find them attractive and you find them at least interesting enough to be on this date with, instead of you saying, you know what, I could maybe make a phone call for you. What do you have? Or did you graduate college? Did you have a high school diploma? I might know somebody. And see if you could work with that man to build a relationship while he's building himself. And then you could be the beneficiary of that on the other side. I forgot y'all waiting at the finish line. Y'all not going to do the struggle love. I understand. Instead of you doing that, you just get on our internet, right? You just get on Al Gore's internet once again and complain. And you complain so much that you admit that not only are you not dating black men, you don't say this, but it's in the subtext. You're not even really dating white American men. You have to date white European men. That's why you date European men. Your words. Huh? And my disappointment in MTR is, brother, we can't let the jealous weirdo chicks get us to throw other black men under the bus. Maybe you're just, your channel is mediocre tutorial reviews, and maybe that's what you're doing. Huh? But okay, cool. And that's why you're not in the I thought you were in the habit of maybe defending black men or black men's image. I appreciate that if that's what you were doing, but that's not what it looks like here. Can't tell you what it is, could tell you what it looked like though. Huh? I know. And Saint Cyr says, I told you last night what the Latino guy and the white guy said in the comments about her last night, Z. They ain't going for her either. I know. That's why she's been reduced. And that's the thing with like the way women move in particular. The way men move is we put ourselves in the position to get overt no's, overt in your face no. And so you have to be honest about with yourself and with others. Clearly, I'm not doing it for black women. I'm not doing it for white women in America. I'm not doing it for American and Americanized women. So I'm a passport bro, right? Or I'm SYSBM and I get in where I can fit in. Women, on the other hand, get to tell you that it's not them. It's not necessarily that they're being rejected or men just want to smash and then dash. No, the problem is inept, incapable loser men. Now, they won't be honest and say the men of means, the men of status have reduced them to being with loser men. They won't tell you they've been reduced down to being only with loser men. No, they tell you that it's so much loser men out here. I wanted to say men's, right? It's so many loser men out here that they have to wade through the loser men. Huh? That's the framing. And the white guy and the Latino guy in MTR's comments that you said I ain't going, I ain't checking. But we know this. We know this. A number of black women know this too, by the way. How many of them are overtly willing to admit that? Like none. It's very few. Let's say that. It's very few. Very few black women will be honest. I said it already. Let Mr. Z say it again. And I don't mean this to gloat. Let me say this. Let me be slow with this. When Mr. Z says this, it's not to gloat as a black man. It's not to necessarily throw it in black women's faces. It is to state the obvious so that we can accept it and move on as a black people. Dear black women, It is not black men who put themselves in the beautiful ones category. Y'all gives you a second. My apologies, y'all. Regular streams. Do not put in the comments. Um, but yeah, so damn, Mr. Z lost his train of thought. Oh yeah, the beautiful ones. It is not black men who put themselves in that position. That is not something to gloat about. I would argue to you that is not something black men would necessarily do for themselves over black women. Do black men get some enjoyment out of it? Of course. But black women, it's not black men's fault. You got to take that up with white folks and Latino folks and Asian folks and every non-black person. Right? You got to take that up with every non-black person on planet Earth, namely in the West. You got to take that up with them. Donald Sterling was in the goddamn locker rooms looking at the Clippers players. You got NFL coaches and pundits speaking about the NFL players low key like they were getting an erection, high key like they were getting an erection. These are supposedly straight white men. Huh? That is not black men paying people or threatening people to see them as the quote unquote beautiful ones in the black community. That is non-black people who took that upon themselves. Huh? And I'm saying that to say black women have this anger and this rage towards black men for something that black men did not construct, that black men did not design, that black men did not tell people or ask people to put them there, or to think of them that way, or to feel about them that way. Pause. Huh? I was thinking it. Thank you, Saint Cyr. Sandusky. Huh? Black women, that's not something that black men designed. And until we can have an honest conversation about black women feeling a certain way about that, anger, rage, sadness, loneliness, horniness, that their degrees in their position and whatever they've done, especially if they've worked hard, right? That it's for them, it feels not fair that this doesn't now grant them kick-ass men from various backgrounds and races and ethnicities that bow to them. Now the women ain't gonna admit the bow to them part. They're not gonna admit that. But if we can at least get them to admit that they thought that the degree and the education and the status and the money would now open the door for them to be with men that are on their level or above. And I think BGS covered a young lady pretty much saying that a few weeks ago. Something BGS covered where the young lady pretty much said that. So we got one. Huh? So we have one. Right? And as Cyrus is saying, right? The respectability brigade, the bootstrappers, the new face of masculinity, the new face of black masculinity where we don't complain, and it gives you that Pharrell new black thing. And by the way, black people been saying that new black thing for like a century, y'all. If you don't believe me, ask BGS. Black people been saying we are new black people. We don't complain. Slavery's over. Jim Crow is, well, the Jim Crow part is less than a century, clearly. But slavery is over. We don't complain. We just go put our head down and work hard. Black people have been saying that for over a century. And every time they say it, they get a foot up their ass. As a collective, they got a foot up their ass. And so if that's where MTR is going with it, where the new black masculinity, where we don't acknowledge the oppression and we don't acknowledge the sabotage, right? We don't acknowledge that elite white men put the thumb on the scales for white women instead of black men. And so they got to eat what that means for them too. That's what you get. In Creole, we say, "Sa bon pou." Huh? White working class men, white lower middle class men, white working poor men, white poor men have to be honest that much of what y'all dealing with this weirdo form of feminism coming from white women, like black women, Latina women, Asian women, etc., is because rich white elite men decided to put the thumb on the scales for white women and use white women and other women as the buffer class instead of moving out the way and allowing for black men to take their rightful seat above everyone else. Oops. And that sabotage is costing everyone. But instead of us having that conversation, MTR and Leona would say black men and we racism, I guess. And survival of the fittest. Yeah, that sounds nice. You want to say survival of the fittest with Elon Musk right now? We're being worth $400 and some odd billion. With Mark Zuckerberg, what is Mark now? 300 and some odd? That happened over the span of a month or so. God damn. Y'all want to talk about survival of the fittest with Vivek Ramaswamy? Head of Doge? Okay. All right. Y'all heard it here first. Y'all talking real reckless right now. Oh, that sound nice. Y'all want to talk about survival of the fittest when you got damn near at least a quarter of PayPal mafia somehow being connected to Trump right now. Okay. As Anton said, you got damn near $1 trillion at that's going to be part of Trump's inauguration. And if you count all of them, it's over $1 trillion. If you count just the billionaires, it might be almost $1 trillion, maybe $1 trillion. If you count all of them, the millionaires and the billionaires, oh, you definitely looking at over $1 trillion. And y'all want to talk about survival of the fittest with this? Okay. All right. With Peter Thiel and Sachs and Elon, and I think Mark Zuckerberg is going to be there. Y'all want to say that now? All right. Okay. Somebody ain't thinking. Huh?
You sure about that? You sure about that? You sure about that?
Sounds nice. Trell said is probably closer to 2 trillion. Trillion. Most of the countries on the planet don't have $1 trillion economies. I think maybe the top, maybe what, 15, 20% of nations are sitting on $1 trillion economy or more. And you're going to have maybe close to 2 trillion, $1.5 trillion, something like that on Trump's inauguration day. And in that environment, because you think you're on the right side of the politics, you could say survival of the fittest. Look, let Mr. Z say this. I am careful that even when my quote unquote guy wins, which as a black person in America, you got to be careful with that type of language, right? When my person wins, oh, but we're getting real close to partner. When my person wins, when my guy wins, or when my woman wins, whatever it is, politically, if they start going off at a deep end with what they want to institute Just because it's the person I voted for doesn't mean that I now turn a blind eye to it and I can't call out, hey, yeah, maybe you won't do with that newfound power you have. You won't do something I disagree with, but because when you're out of office, that power will still be there. And the next person who I may disagree with politically will be able to wield this new tool in a way that screws all of us. And it looks like a number of you don't got a problem with that because it's Trump right now. Yeah, not smart. Huh? Huh? Not smart. And so we'll pause right there and let's read this from I wanted KMS. I almost called you MTR. Jesus. And from KMS, and KMS is those who supposed to be speaking on black men experience in aggregate are knowingly using their anecdotal experience disregarding the everyday plight. I'm team self-improvement and hard work, but I'd be damned if I wasn't lucky too. And that, look, you need hard work, you need preparation, and you need a bit of luck also. If you don't have the luck, if we're going to be honest, your hard work and preparation ain't going to mean nothing. If we're going to be brutally honest with everyone, that hard work and preparation with no luck will have you looking like you want to jump off a bridge. You'll be on self-delete mode. Somebody tells you he lying. Ain't nothing worse than working hard, preparing, and don't have no luck. The opportunity never come. Because many of us have been on that side. You went to school, you did the right things, you took the right classes, you did all the extracurriculars, right? And you're prepared, you have the demeanor, you have the disposition, and all you waiting is for the luck to come through, for the opportunity. Huh? You want to talk about self-delete watch. But you let MTR tell it, and definitely Leona tell it, black men have nothing to complain about. That's Yitch behavior. Huh? This is real. The reason why Mr. Z is covering this, and now we're covering this a second time, is this is really dangerous, black people. This is really dangerous work. You know, I watched, what's the brother's name? The Passport brother's name? Jesus Christ, it's right there. I watched that brother speak about Brazil and speak about the anti-blackness in Brazil. And those of us that are from heavily Latino places or live around Latinos or have worked with Latinos, you understand that they're racist as crap. They hide it behind colorism and classism. And that's essentially what Austin Holloman, that's what I'm speaking of. Austin Holloman, I remember. Somebody might have wrote down the name, but I can't even tell right now because I'm on a different party StreamYards. But yeah, Austin Holloman, the brother was speaking about Brazil. And if you read through the comments, it's black person after black person, including black women from across the diaspora who have lived in Brazil or worked in Brazil, who are like, I corroborate, I agree. Huh? The Brazilians keep on telling you, oh, it's classism. But as Austin Holloman said, hey, no black people on TV. When you look at the favelas, you see black people. When you look at the nicer areas, you see the lighter and whiter folks. But no, it's not racism, it's classism. Huh? Why is Mr. Z bringing that up? Excuses. Excuses for what is that the system is trying to obscure. Excuses. Lies, BS, the narratives we tell ourselves. When a Leona and an MTR are speaking the way they are, the reason why it's so dangerous is, and BGS remembers Z saying this, Black Uru definitely probably remembers Z saying this, the Brazilification of America. I've been saying that for years in the Black Manosphere, for at least 3-4 years. Maybe 4 or 5 years in the Black Manosphere, I've been saying this. My fear is the Brazilification of America when it comes to black folks in particular, where you still going through it because you black, but you think it's for every other reason but because you're black. Huh? And y'all give Z a second, y'all talk amongst yourselves. And we're back. My apologies, y'all, for not playing the music. My apologies, y'all. But yeah. And so when MTR engages in this, and when Leona engages in this, and I don't mean as an insult, particularly to MTR, this is useful idiot speak. Like, Leona, she means it. She's trying to get at black men. She's trying to insult black men. MTR, I don't know. And I'm attempting to give MTR the benefit of the doubt. Who is Z to give anyone the benefit of the doubt? Who is Z, right? Like I said last night, I was disappointed in MTR, but who am I to be disappointed in MTR? Who am I? I don't know him in real life or personally. Neither does he know me. I'm a faceless nobody on YouTube. Z is a faceless no one on YouTube. I understand. But MTR, do you appreciate what you're doing and what you're saying and how you breadcrumb into putting black people in a position to be victimized but not be able to say anything about it? I know, like, the alpha your way through, it sounds nice and it sounds empowering, and this is definitely what men should engage in, namely black men should engage in. But sometimes you just on the wrong side of the power dynamic, and people will abuse you, and people will take advantage of you, and you will be, say it again, Z, you will be a victim. And to not be able to find a way through that because we don't do victim talk over here, that's frightening. Huh? Wow. So KMS, for this super chat, you get one of these. Also, actually, we'll give you this one. Right? And once again, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the super chat, KMS. Right? Wow. So as I said, look, we cover this because what Miss Leona, and I covered this before, right? What Miss Leona engaged in here was just her being resentful that her money and her status, and this is much of Chrissy's issue also. This is somewhat of Real Talk with Yanni's issue, is that y'all making okay money. It's just y'all can't get the type of Negroes you find attractive to bow and to kiss your ass and provide for you exorbitantly. Talk about dehumanizing. Right? That's the goal here. MTR, if you don't get it, and I'm glad that Sarge Willie Pete has finally come around, and it looks like he's still struggling a little bit to appreciate it, but he gets it now. That was always the goal. The goal was always to find men, because this is what Mr. Z means by patriarchy, by feminist specifications. That's why I said it. The goal here is to get men to protect, provide, and shut up. The women never wanted that the protect and provide part to go away. They just didn't want you to have any type of power. Right? Power over others. They still want kick-ass men. They're still attracted to kick-ass men, competent, intelligent, tall, good-looking, charismatic men. The women still want that. They just don't want you to be able to wield none of that on them. Patriarchy by feminist specifications. right? And it seems like MTR doesn't appreciate that. That's Leona's problem. She's making pretty good money. She's successful in whatever she's doing. She told you she's been on her own since she was 22 years old. And the black man won't bow. She can't find the men that she finds attractive, the black men she finds attractive, to be her paymaster and bow. Once again, protect, provide, and shut up. Huh? Good one. And Dusty Hotep says, salad bar feminism. That's a good one. Put it in the book. That's a good one. Huh? So, yeah, and Bruce on Wayne, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the super chat. He says, they want to play God. They go and get what they ask for. And oof, I don't know if you're talking about the white folks. I don't know if you're talking about Leona and her type. I don't know if you're talking about the MTRs. It applies to all. I think you're really talking about the white folks, but that definitely is apropos for them. Right? Huh? And Vince says, she should be shamed. She should be shamed to trying to bring someone to heal. Say that.
Are you not ashamed of yourself? Are you not embarrassed? This is really embarrassing.
Right? Say that. And really, if we're going to be honest, Leona's issue really, and what she was, if you really dig through what she was saying, what she really was saying is she was crying out. This was rage. She was crying out. She really was on this.
So we don't have the capacity.
Huh? Everything she did, and black men who she should be, quote unquote, should be equally yoked with, are passing her by. So she had to resign herself to the brothers who aren't, quote unquote, on her level. And she tried that, and it ain't working. The white men ain't checking enough, so now she got to go deal with European white men. That's really what it is. Huh? That's really the issue. And Bruce on Wayne, for that super chat, thank you very much. You get one of these. If Mr. Z could find it, that would be great. You get one of these.
Yep, I'm flying through the air. This is not good.
Right? Yeah. Brother MTR, as I said last night, no, brother, no. I can't ride with y'all on this one. The Pandora's box that you're opening, moving the Overton window so that non-black people can now minimize, and you already hear this from non-black people. So black people are victimizing themselves too much. They're playing victim. Playing victim. Right? And so all you need are black women, and this is why FD, this is why I start off with the black man, black women conversation, this gender conflict between black men and black women. Because look at what a black woman is saying just because her dating life is trash, because she has a trash attitude. Her own admission. Look at what she's doing. She's given carte blanche for racist non-black folks, for anti-black non-black folks, to also minimize the plight of black men and boys, in particular black men. And this is when I say this. Just because she can't fetch a man, fetch a good black man who she deems desirable. Because those men in San Diego are passing her by, she goes on this hit piece against black men. Why I don't date black men. And she uses the language of self-victimization and then has a black man corroborate and agree with that. That's why I have these type of conversations. That's why Mr. Z's angle is what it is. Huh? Okay, Passport OG is the one who came up with salad bar feminism. Right? Because Dusty Old Tap says, gotta give Passport OG credit for that one. Okay. All right. Put it in the book. Still put it in the book. Right? So we're gonna read this. I'm gonna play it one more again for y'all, and then we'll end out in a minute. Like I said, to whoever that brother was who put the super chat last minute last night, I did not get to read it. So if you want to put that comment down again, you can put that comment in the comments afterwards, because maybe you're not listening live. If you're listening live right now, you could put that comment in. I'll read it. We'll make our commentary about it. If you listen on the replay, put the comment. Say that this is the comment that you put up. And by the time, you know what? As a matter of fact, no, I can't do it. Let me see, because I kept on seeing if those comments would populate earlier, and I could not get it to populate so I could see what you put down last minute. Let's see if we can get it now. Wait a minute. Wait. Okay, now we could get it. All right, y'all gives you a second. Y'all talk amongst yourselves. Okay, we found it. And it's from a brother named Zeno. And Zeno says, Richard Reeves acknowledged that black men experience more racism than our women. These wominists refuse to believe that patriarchy does not, I think you meant to say patriarchy. Patriarchy does not benefit black men, and womanhood gains power from being victims of America. Yes. Yeah. I think there are a number of black women who get it, but there's so much to gain on the other side of white male hegemonic rule. There's so much to gain from being the victims of that, the using intersectionality to garner some type of power. At least at one point there was. We'll see when Trump is done with this second term. That the number of scholars, black female scholars, that appreciate this, they will never say it out loud. They understand that that's going against the sisterhood, right? They understand that. And Zeno, thank you for the super chat. And hopefully you're able to hear this, and you can see that I replied. But yeah, yes, and Dr. Richard Reeves appreciates that. And I would say, see, this is the thing, because everybody's playing dumb. I think there's a number of non-black people who appreciate social dominance order, and they understand that actually the primary victims of white male hegemony have been black men. But a number of them who have tried to say it throughout the years, over the past few decades, they get shut down. They get called all type of misogynist. They get called like they're ignoring the plight of black women. They're minimizing the plight of black women. They're sexist. They're misogynorist. Right? That's how they're spoken of. Right? So people are cowed into not speaking about the plight of black men. in relation to America, because what it does is somehow inherently minimizes the plight of black women. Right? So Dr. Richard Reeves is saying this, and that's why, if y'all recall, Mr. Z was saying this a couple years ago, which is like Dr. Richard Reeves, you could tell he's gunning for, excuse me, he's gunning for Kimberly Crenshaw, because he wants to see why Kimberly Crenshaw weaponized intersectionality, or she allowed, even if she didn't do it, she did it. Even if she didn't do it, she allowed for intersectionality to be weaponized against black men in specific. And then that then in turn minimized the plight of black men, and it kind of flattened maleness and manness to include black men. And so things that were specific to black men that harm black men more than everyone else, including black women, got pushed to the side. And so when black women are doing okay or well with the help of the dominant society, we then get to look at black men and say, well, the reason why you're not doing well is because there's something wrong with you. It's not a very specific part of anti-blackness that affects you in particular, because you're just a man. And because you're just a man, which makes it worse, because you being just a man but not performing at the level of white men means that something is wrong with you. We don't know if it's inherently wrong with you, or we don't know if it's the way you're raised, but something's wrong with you. Because you're not performing at the level of white men. The girls and the women are performing at the level of white girls and white women, or almost there. Not too far away. And so for the women, we can kind of sort of acknowledge racism, sexism for black women, racism, misogyny for black women, racism, misogynorism for black women. But black men, what is your issue? Why aren't you not to the level? Why are 70% of you come back down to working class when you were born and raised upper middle class? Right? Why do you have the incarceration rate you do? Huh? There's something wrong with you. See, that's what happens when you weaponize intersectionality against black men, and then you get to practice at best, benign neglect of black boys and black men. And that's at best. At worst, it's implied, suggested, if not overtly said, that black men are in the position they're in because something is wrong with them. Right? And once again, we're reading Zeno's comment, who left the super chat last minute before Z ended last night. And his comment once again was, and thank you for the super chat, brother. Thank you for the super chat. I'm gonna give you the video meme in a minute. And his super chat was, Richard Reeve acknowledged that black men experience more racism than our women. These womenists refuse to believe that patriarchy does not benefit black men. The womanhood gains power from being victims of America. Right? No, the women will acknowledge that patriarchy doesn't benefit black men in a weird way. Tell black men to bow to them. Y'all gives you a second. Come on. Y'all gives you a second. I'm sorry about that. We're back. But the women will acknowledge that patriarchy doesn't benefit black men. So when they do acknowledge it, and this is important, Zeno, it's to say, well, that's why you should follow us. That's why you should let us lead. That's why you should follow us. We should lead. Tiffany Cross, get in line next to what she really meant was to say behind your women. Get in line behind black women. She said get in line next to. Let's correct that. Get in line behind black women. Right? So when the women acknowledge that patriarchy doesn't benefit black men, then they go on to say, well, because black women are in the position that we're in, we're better morally, we're more educated, we have higher status, we're less threatening, we're just better people. All you are, man, is labor and peen. That's what you are, black men, black boys, black males. Black males, which you are just labor. You're just the muscle and the peen. Huh? So when they do acknowledge that patriarchy doesn't benefit black men, be prepared. And it's really more liberal and progressive black women, to be fair to the conservatives. It's more liberal and progressive black women that'll say this, or that will insinuate it, better yet, even if they don't overtly say it. What they're insinuating and what they're suggesting when they say patriarchy doesn't benefit black men, and the subtext of that is that, excuse me, what they're implying and suggesting is that black men should now follow behind black women, right? So I definitely want to pause and say that. And once again, Zeno, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the super chat. And you get one of these. If Mr. Z can find it. You get one of these for your super chat. Thank you very much. And once again, Zeno, thank you for the super chat. Once again, that's Mr. Z replying to Zeno from last night. And we'll read KMS super chat. And KMS says, and thank you for the super chat. There are men in I'm sorry, y'all, I got distracted a little bit. There are men in my family more capable than I, but they didn't get the breaks, lux, and grace that life afforded me. MTR knows this and knows better. Cast the Persians on foolishness, not because you the Negro that made it sad. Cast dispersions, I think you meant to say, but I get what you're saying. Aspersions, dispersions. Okay, somebody correct Z on that one. I'm a little confused. I know what you're trying to say. I'm just getting my words mixed up. That's on me. That's not on you. Yeah, I think MTR has alluded to some of his family being a bit more hood and whatever. I think MTR's father helped to put him in the position that he's in now, and I don't know if he fully I think he appreciates it, to be honest. But I think in his defense, I guess, of black men, I guess we did the elitist thing and did the whole, well, not me and my guys. Me and my guys don't use excuses. And that's kind of the lane he was going. But with that, he was throwing everybody else, all other black men, pretty much under the bus with that one. Right? The me and my guys don't use excuses. Me and my guys are doing pretty well. Me and my guys don't do the whole victimhood thing. Huh? And that, right? And KMSC, I think MTR does know better. To be honest with you, and this is why I'm speaking the way I am. I think MTR got wrapped up in trying to defend a type of image of the respectable Negro when Leona, a black woman, was coming at them. And we know how the internet works, so it's a number of non-black people watching our content. And so MTR attempted to defend us to the world, but to defend us to the world, he threw who I guess he would deem, and MTR could always correct me, but once again, 800,000 subscribers, he ain't never going to respond to me. And if he does, he'll make it obscure enough where we don't even know, right? But once again, I think MTR knows better, but I think for MTR in his mind to defend, I guess, the respectable Negro, he had to throw all the other Negroes under the bus. I guess the not deserving Negroes, the ones that use excuses, and the ones that quote unquote play victim. And so that's what he engaged in. And I'm saying to MTR, brother, this is dangerous because you're allowing for Leona to set the framing. And then you're also allowing for non-black folks to get the cue. It is that serious. We already have confirmation that non-black people are watching and reading our content. Right? Huh. I'm just saying you got to be careful with this. I'm not saying Mr. Z is perfect on this either. I'm just asking. I'm tugging on a brother's coattails and be like, brother, are you sure about that? Right? That's what Mr. Z is engaging
You
in.
sure about that? You sure about that? You sure about that?
That's all Mr. Z is doing. Right? Because it's real dangerous when black men engage in this type of rhetoric and language. I don't see MTR going full on Myron. But I am saying for the anti-black white racists who see themselves as a bit more educated, they're not gonna do the Nick Fuentes thing, right? They're a little bit more classy than that. They're a little bit more reserved than that. They're not gonna get themselves tangled up with a Myron. Brother, you're right up their alley. That banana neglect type of anti-blackness, that you're where you are because you didn't try hard enough type of anti-blackness and racism. Yeah, you're allowing for that. Or better, you're allowing for excuses for that. That type of rhetoric. So that's why I'm cautioning, bro. I'm just cautioning you and asking you to slow up a little bit, just a smidge, right? That's all Mr. Z is saying. And once again, KMS, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the super chat. And you get one of these. And Vince says MTR might be leaning towards respectability Negroes. I think so. I want everybody to understand Mr. Z is not anti being respectable. If y'all heard Mr. Z, y'all heard Mr. Z on different people's panels. I'm a pretty respectable person. Anyone who knows me in real life, IRL, knows Mr. Z is pretty respectable. How I speak to elders, how I speak to children, how I speak to even women, black women, the way I dress, right? People will appreciate that about me. But respectability as a politic, and that's why they call it respectability politics. That's why it's called respectability politics. Respectability as a politic, I don't know, right? I don't know. Got to be careful with that. Right? And that's what I'm doing, MTR, is really saying, brother, are you sure about that? Right? And y'all like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. And thank you for listening in. Thank you for listening in for part 2. Right? I just wanted to play it for you guys. I'm going to play it one more time before we get out of here. But I wanted to play it for you guys so y'all can see the segment in particular that Mr. Z was speaking about last night. And we could calm down a bit from yesterday, from last night, and give our commentary in you know, a little bit more reserved. Just a bit. Right? So let's play it one more again and then we'll read Bruce Owen Wayne. I think that was his super chat. And we'll play it one more again. Give me a second. And then yeah.
Here we go.
If you've seen my last video, then you know how I talked about black people, melanated people victimizing themselves to white people is not a flex. It's not something that is
actually hate that.
It's not something that's dignified. It's not really something that's going to help you propel and move forward in your life.
Sure.
I've never dated a black man that didn't talk about his
experience as a black man.
Oh.
Talk about how
the man is always trying to keep him down.
And it's so sickening. It's disgusting.
I agree with her.
And it's my experience dating every single black man that I've dated. They've always talked about how their experience as a black man in America is one that is filled with hatred and racism, I guess.
Those are weak men.
Although secretly, I believe every single black man would find themselves at a higher status if they actually had dated or was in a relationship with a woman of non-color. but that's really neither here nor there.
What?
I really, really hope that Black men find their preferences away from Black women so that they can continue to level up and do them and go about their merry way and be great. I
didn't think I was going to agree with her at all during this video, just based off of the title, because I'm not with this whole divest community shit. I believe in survival of the fittest. You find within whatever race, man or woman, whatever works best for you. Nevertheless, Black men that continue to look at the world and prioritize their race first for whatever conversation in a method to victimize themselves are some of the weakest Black men amongst all Black men. The majority of them, not all, have been trained to be a victim. They've been trained to be weak and pathetic and really don't represent masculinity when they do that. They'll often blame everything that's wrong in their life on the white man keeping them down. When I say that there's nothing keeping you down but yourself. You can't be mad at those and look at others with a envy or jealousy and victimize yourself because you weren't born into their same race or ethnicity, color of skin, and instead take life by the horns and develop your own. Now, I say all that to say how she keeps on coming into contact with dudes like that is beyond me. I don't know any Black dudes like that. None of my friends are like that. So this first issue is based off of your selection, ma'am. Let's go.
Once again, fair use, right? Once again, fair use, right? You have no one to blame but yourself, right? And when he brings up race, and you can't feel a certain way because you weren't born in these people's same race. MTR, that's the whole point of white supremacy racism. The whole point was to hoard the resources and use it as a tool. Lock away the resources, hoard the resources, lock it behind yourself, and then use the regulation of those resources to get people to behave the way you want them to, the way you dictate. That's the whole point. Infographics covered, and we know infographics has its own, type of thing, and once again, this is not fact, but infographics covered maybe a couple years ago, what would the U.S. do if it went to war with the rest of the world? You know what it said? You know what the host of or the presenter of on infographics said? Go to the Middle East and lock off the oil. And America has the power to do it. If America went to war with the rest of the world, you send all the aircraft carriers and the submarines, all the planes to the Middle East, you lock off the oil and then starve everyone else. Once again, lock off the resources to get people to behave the way you want them to dictate to others how they're going to behave. MTR. That is a reason to feel a certain way. People practicing racism is saying, because you do not look like me, because you do not have the same hair texture and skin tone and worldview as I do, because you do not hail from a certain region of the world that I do. Well, not if we move the clock up far enough. I want to use resources and my position to dictate your behavior and to regulate you. Relegate you and regulate you. MTR, that is a reason to feel a certain way. And to call it weak and pathetic for Black people, Black men, to acknowledge that white folks and white society and white men are using their outsized power and influence to crush and to screw over people of color, namely Black people, namely Black men, is not weak and pathetic. It's observant. It's aware. Ooh, Z, don't say the word. It's woke. Jesus Christ, Z, you actually said the word. You said it unironically, Z. You didn't mock the word, Z. Jesus Christ, Z. You know we can't say that word. Huh? Oh, look, Bruce Wayne. Let's just Bruce Wayne. Is this what I? Are you saying what I think you saying? Figgy Blanc? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Right. And thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the super chat. Bruce Wayne, go ahead and give everybody the translation for that, and me partially. I kind of get it, but I kind of don't. Huh? Thank you, Kunguru. If that's how we rebranding weak, guess I'm weak then. And by the way, the link is in the description. I just clipped out this part in particular. I didn't want to get a copyright infringement from MTR or from YouTube, so I clipped out this part. I might still get a copyright strike. So like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat, and y'all go ahead and click the link. It's in the description box. It's in the description box for the stream I did last night, because I wanted y'all to see for yourselves, so y'all could disagree with Z if you disagree with Z. If I'm reading too far into this, if I took MTR out of context, if I'm being too hyperbolic, I have no problem with people disagreeing. Next time I have a panel, might be tomorrow, might be Sunday. Y'all could always come up and say, Z, I think you were wrong. I think you misread this. Mr. Z has no problem, right? I might be wrong. It's the case. I might be wrong, right? And Dell says MTR was in Ed's chat not too long ago, so he listens. Yeah, but Ed has like 5 times the amount of subscribers, maybe 4 to 5 times the amount of subscribers than Z has. And Ed has been here longer. Ed has a bigger impact than Z does, so he might know who Ed is, but he don't know who Z is, right? I definitely could see that happening. And thank you for that comment, Dell. But yeah, I definitely could see that happening, right? And once again, Bruce Owen Wayne, for your super chat, you get one of these.
Yep, I'm flying through the air. This is not good.
And Vince says, I think you're misreading this, but it's also how he is expressing his views. Go ahead into that, Vince. Go ahead into that. I don't have a problem with go ahead and elaborate. Right? Yeah, go ahead and elaborate. Maybe I'm misreading it. Landon said, could we go back to conscious instead of woke? Yeah, I don't think we have a choice in the matter. I think the word woke is done. I think, certain folks grabbed a hold of the word woke, and we on both sides of the political spectrum, they overuse the word woke, and actually, as the conservatives like to mock them, they were actually sleep as hell. And then on the other side of woke, they mock it, and they act like they don't appreciate it. Maybe they don't. And you saw what happened with Breonna Joy Taylor when Breonna Joy Taylor, Breonna Joy when she hemmed up that white woman and asked her what does woke mean, and the white woman was flummoxed, and she wrote a whole article about it, mocking it. Breonna Joy Gray. I don't know why I want to say Breonna Joy Taylor. Joy Taylor. That's why Joy Taylor made me say Breonna Joy Taylor. Sorry, y'all. Breonna Joy Gray. I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, Breonna Joy Gray, when she hemmed up the white woman, and you saw how flummoxed she was, because she wrote a whole article about woke, right? Mocking the word. And look how easy it was to hem her up. So I agree with you that we should go to conscious. And like I said, I don't think we have a choice in the matter now. But, watching both sides play this game with the word woke, as I said, the more leftists with the word woke and just throwing it at everything. And then the more conservatives mocking the word while also acting like they don't understand, and for some of them not understanding that woke just means aware. And yes, there's things to be aware. If you believe in any conspiracy, believe it or not, you are calling yourself woke, right? So yeah. And Michael Andrews says, I literally watched woke turn into something completely different. Say that, right? And Better You says, "Man can be careful who give cover to. Conservatives started using because their black friends sit around them. Cough cough. Marshall, man, look, Marshall to me, and I said it, and you should have never brought this up, Better You. And I'm gonna get to your comment in a minute, Vince, because I see it. Um, um, Marshall to me, Marshall's married to a white woman. Saga and Jetty's married to a white woman. And I want to be very clear, Marshall, I understand you were raised by non-black folks. I know you were adopted. I get it. Cool. You grew up in a different type of situation than the masses of us black folks. All right, cool. I get it. And I'm not saying that to slight you or anything. I'm not even going in that direction. What I am saying, and it's more of a question than a statement. We're going to get to the rhetorical question in a minute. This is an actual question. Marshall, do you not see Sagar as being anti-black? That's not a rhetorical question. That's a real question. Marshall, do you not see the tone Sagar takes when he's speaking about black people? Do you not see him shoehorn black people into certain parts of certain conversations to kind of dismiss them and to kind of defecate on them? Or is it just Z? Huh? That's a real question. Sagar is anti-black as hell, and you saw it when he was speaking about when he spoke about the Ivy League schools and black people not going. There's a tone of voice, and Better You, shout out to Better You for sending me that, and I actually already saw it. There's a tone, and Better You caught it too. That's why he sent it to me. There was a tone, and there was something that Sagar said when he was speaking about less black people going to certain Ivy Leagues, because it's not even all certain Ivy League school. And essentially, and there's a number of South Asians and East Asians that think this because they're anti-black as hell, kick black people down to the state schools. Once again, state schools, there's no problem with state schools, but and it's this what is his name on my Charles Murray type of thing, bell curve type of thing, or black people aren't disciplined enough, they don't have that high enough IQ, and so if they're not if they don't have the discipline or the education or the wherewithal, I don't care if they don't have the tools. So what? Middle finger. If they can't get into the Ivy Leagues, screw it. Leave them at the state schools. Bums. Huh? And that was essentially his tone. F him. That was essentially his tone. But that pales into comparison when Sagar was speaking about Ta-Nehisi Coates. Ta-Nehisi Coates, better yet, sorry. Even non-black people in the comments for breaking points were like, God, did Ta-Nehisi Coates steal this man's woman in college or something? Right? It was so his it was, you could tell he had an issue with Ta-Nehisi Coates, but this was bigger than Ta-Nehisi Coates. And then his excuse was Ta-Nehisi Coates allowed for every white girl or white woman on college campuses to weaponize what was the article that the case for reparations? Yeah, the case for reparations. Every white girl was reciting this. Listen here, Sagar. Let's say it one more again for Sagar. Whatever black man snatched up the white girl that you were feeling in high school or in college, get over it. And whatever white girl heard your conservative views and threw in your face the case for reparations, because you probably said some anti-black things, let's be honest. You probably told a white girl you were feeling some anti-black things, or you saw that she was walking around with the case of reparations or reciting it, or liked the article, and you felt a certain way because you conservative, you're really anti-black and racist. And so now you're using Ta-Nehisi Coates in the case for reparations to get at all black people. And so my question to Marshall is, how overt does Sagar have to be before you're like, okay, all right, he done gone too far. You're gone too far, Biggs. You're gone too far. Huh? I might use that too, by the way, if I could find it. Huh? So, like better you said, Marshall A. All right, bro. All right. Keep telling yourself no. The problem is, and you already know how these Negroes are. The problem is we don't know Sagar the way you know Sagar. Sagar's not racist. He's just conservative. Okay, yeah, that's it. Because you're his one black friend. All right. No, he has more than one black friend, Z. Okay, yeah, whatever. We done heard that before. Dinner Roof had black friends. I just want everyone to remember. Dinner Roof had a cool ass black friend. Y'all remember that interview? I, as a black man, don't see him no different. Shut your butt ass up. So we already know you could be flaming anti-black as hell, leave a manifesto, go murk off black people, and somewhere is going to be some Negro that say, I don't see him no different. He's my friend. So the question remains, dear Sagar, you gonna keep on going with this? And dear Marshall, how far are you gonna let Sagar go before you cut that cord? Huh? That's the question. Atrix says Sagar and Jetty is the biggest DI recipient. Same thing with Vivek. Those South Asians already let you know. We'll come in under black people. We'll scheme off and skim off. Right? And that's why what's her name said black people deserve reparations and no one else. And that's why the white lady that was speaking to Nina Turner said all of these other groups are doing stolen valor. They're practicing stolen valor from black people, namely, obviously, ADOS, FBA. Huh? And Coulter. Thank you, Nema. Because these East Asians and South Asians, they come under black people with affirmative action and DEI and all, excuse me, all that other stuff. And then they make it, and then they say, oh, yeah, oh, by the way, y'all could kill off affirmative action now. I done made it. Thank you. Huh? And Dusty Hotep says, Obama was the one who started the war on woke back in 2019. Yeah. Look, if you're right, Dusty Hotep, think about this. Occupy Wall Street happened under whose administration? As much issues as we have with Black Lives Matter, BLM, Black Lives Matter started under whose administration? Oops. Huh? How many black young boys and black men were killed under who administration? So, of course, if what you're saying is true, of course. Huh? So J-Log says, and thank you for the super chat. What the F did MTR do this time? I played it a couple of times. The link is in the description box. It's his framing. It's him agreeing with this thrown off black woman in California, in San Diego, who pretty much said that black men are playing victim, black men are victimizing themselves. And MTR went on to say, yeah, those black men are weak, they're pathetic, and et cetera, et cetera. And so he minimized it. And so that's why I'm covering what I'm covering and kind of pulling MTR's coattails and saying, this is not a good look, brother. You might want to reconsider this, read some litter, right? Read some litter. Sure. That's what Mr. Z is doing here, right? We're going to end out in a minute. But yeah. And thank you for that super chat, J-Log. Thank you for that super chat. And you get, let's do one of these. Right? So yeah, I definitely want to come to y'all with this, kind of make sure that we play the segment for you so everyone can understand and appreciate what Mr. Z was actually speaking about, right? So yeah, I'll give Z a second. I'm just making sure I'm reading some of these comments. And Better You says, I don't think Marshall has a red line, bro. He done put on his hood at this point. Yeah, yeah. And this is another, like I said, we have to be careful who we call coons, who we make fun of as kids, who we say is not black enough. And with that, to those black people, I say, when we become adults, y'all gotta grow up. Y'all gotta grow up. Because people are holding on to these quote unquote childhood traumas for life. And they let non-black people say all type of things in their presence, do all type of things. They end up marrying or having an affinity for non-black folks, white women, white men, whoever the hell that's not black. And they say to hell with the black community. And I get it when you are heartbroken and you were made fun of or you were bullied or whatever. I can appreciate how you get there. But you can't stay there. Hey, many of the small hats that help round up other small hats still ended up on those trains to Auschwitz too. To Dachau also. Huh? Just because you help load up the other small hats to go to the concentration camp, don't mean you ain't gonna be on that same train tomorrow, next week, today. Just saying. Huh? Just saying. It's not smart.
He's right, you know.
Huh? So, you know. So, on that note, y'all, we'll pause right here. And Namath says, as a matter of fact, Namath says, same as the Apaches that helped the U.S. Capture Geronimo. Okay. We know how this works, right? We know how this works. We know that there are a number of people who think they're above it, who think that this won't apply to them, right? Who think that white folks want white folks. They don't appreciate divide and conquer. All right then. So seriously, y'all, Mr. Z has things to do, right? Reckless streams. Like, share, subscribe. Thank you, bud, for the replay squad. Thank you for listening in, you guys. Thank you for listening to the clarification, or the we went in more details. Better yet, I got to play this for you guys so you guys can see for yourself, and you can disagree if you disagree. As a matter of fact, I did not read Vic's comment. Let's read Vic's comment before we end out. Let's read. Thank God I remembered. Where's that comment? Because Vic clarified. Damn it. I saw it. There we go. And Vic says, MTR to me is expressing being determined whether racism or any type of oppression is the obstacle. He may be overlooking the span and breadth of our issues, but that may be because you understand it more. I can appreciate what you're saying, Vic. Here's my thing. I'm not ADOS. There's no way I get it and MTR doesn't. There's no way. And this is why I'm saying it's a slippery slope and you're opening Pandora's box with this type of rhetoric, right? With this type of language. I agree with you. I think, and this is why I was speaking about respectability earlier. Maybe I didn't phrase it the right way. I agree with you on this beginning part where you say MTR to me is expressing being determined whether racism or any type of oppression is the obstacle. I agree with that. I think that's what he was attempting to do. But then listen to how he spoke. He said weak and pathetic. Leo, and once again, remember I said he's allowing Leona to frame this. She's a black woman who's angry and bitter that the type of black man that she finds attractive and appealing aren't bowing to her. So of course she's going to frame the fact that she's stuck with the brothers who are not doing so well in life in San Diego. On top of that, a very high cost of living area. She's regulated to those type of black men when she has to end up with dating or taking seriously a black man. And so of course she's going to frame this in a hyperbolic sense. MTR then takes her framing and adds on to it by saying that type of language is pathetic and etc. Which on the surface, Mr. Z would agree with if it wasn't coming from a Leona. I appreciate her framing. MTR went along with the framing. That's what I'm saying, right? And by the way, Vic, I'm not barking at you or yelling at you. I'm saying MTR went along with the framing. He let her set the pace. And that's why it came off the way it did, at least to Z. Because he didn't preface his statement at all. He just said those type of men are weak, and that's pathetic. And then look at his facial expression when Leona was speaking. Right? So this reeks of respectability and reeks of, and I think MTR, I think to a certain extent he believes in what he said. Right? So I hesitate to call MTR a type of coon. I haven't watched enough of his content outside of black women stuff to call him that. I don't think I'm in the place to call him that anyway. What I will say is, and like I said earlier, Vic, MTR, you got to be careful how you move it out here. You have 800,000 subscribers, brother. 800,000. You know not all of them are black. We have to be careful on the internet. That's if you listen to the way I frame things, even when I speak about black women, I'm very clear that I know that there are one or two non-black folks listening to Z. There might be one or two non-black folks listening to Z. I speak about black women's behavior and what they believe and the way they speak. And I attempt to not give non-black people ammo against black women. But I am telling black women that white worshiping, it ain't going to work out for you because it doesn't. It doesn't. The throwing black men under the bus, that way some chiseled chin, godlike figure Brad could save you from Blackistan, it don't work for the masses of you. MTR, on the other hand, went along with Leona's framing. And that's what I'm saying. You got to be careful because Leona is just a bitter chick who can't even make it work with white American men. So she got to end up with either brothers who are not doing well in the hood or with European white men. You got to be careful with that. That weak and pathetic. I don't know. So yeah, Vic, yeah. And on that note, y'all, look, so you got things to do. We will pause right here. Love, peace, and chicken grease. Y'all go check out other Black Manosphere content, other non-Manosphere content, for the love of God. J-Lock, I'll raise your comment. I don't know. Maybe he would be, right? So, hey, I read that comment too, J-Lock. Hey, there's a number of the brothers who sound like MTR right now, and I'm careful not to call them out because I think I say what I say, right? And I wait for these people to cross that line and be like, and that's why I said what I said, right? That's what I'll say. The folks who Mr. Z has been observing and they getting closer, and that's why I said reactionary. I get it. Y'all feel like Trump won. Y'all was on this before Trump won. Y'all feel like y'all on the right winning team. I'm telling you, I know my black people. I know my brothers. Y'all gonna take it too far. Y'all gonna take the advocacy too far. Y'all gonna go too far. That's what I'm saying. What I'm saying right exactly now. Y'all mark Mr. Z's words right now. Brothers are gonna take it too far. and brothers are going to be put in a position to defend the indefensible, and we're going to see what they do when it happens. Huh? So there's a reason why Mr. Z ain't saying no names. There's a whole lot of people, they dancing right now. They loving what's going on. All right. Does you think it's just going to affect the black women and the loser black men? We'll see. Huh? We will see. I would love to see y'all defend what Mr. Z thinks may go on over the next 4 to 8 to 12 years. Excuse me. We'll see. I'm not trying to fearmonger people or any of that. I just think I have a certain reading of America, not saying my reading is perfect and accurate all the time, that I think many of us don't appreciate. We will see. Y'all heard what BGS said. Y'all don't know America. Y'all about to. I heard when BGS said that. Huh? Y'all think y'all know America. We'll see. Y'all heard BGS say it. I heard when BGS said it also. All right now. So we'll truly pause right there. Love, peace, and chicken grease. Right? J-Log, this is the one thing I will say. You got to get into it. And J-Log says, yep, that's why I'm not into politics. I don't vote for neither side. I say you get into it. All right? But I'll leave that there. We'll pause right here. Love, peace, and chicken grease. Y'all go check out other Black Manosphere content, other non-Manosphere content. Shout out to MTR. Brother, this was just me pulling on your coattails. Right? And y'all have a great, great rest of y'all day. And Mr. Z out. All right, y'all.